So while we all love swooping in to save the day, sometimes it's just a lot more fun to play as the bad guy. From supervillains to alien invaders and everything in between, there are plenty of Xbox titles that will help you get in touch with your dark side. Just try not to enjoy them too much. Okay, just a little bit.
We'll start off with something truly demonic, Devolver Digital's Cult of the Lamb. Don't be fooled by its adorable cartoon graphics and cuddly characters. This one truly is the work of the devil. Playing as a possessed lamb, it's up to you to start up your very own satanic cult. You'll be taking part in dark rituals, leading your followers in demonic worships, and generally doing the stuff our parents swore video games would lead us back to in the 90s. But if you're going to be this bad, you might as well be the best, so you'll need to also wander the game's huge, procedurally generated world to take down any other false prophets that you encounter. The whole thing looks deviously good, especially with its 2.5D Crimson aesthetic in 4K Ultra HD on the Xbox Series X. So if you're looking to dabble in the dark arts, then see if you can't make a deal with the devil and convince him to buy you the Cult of the Lamb.
Okay, so by the standards of some of the other folk on this list, the protagonist of Untitled Goose Game isn't really that bad. I mean, they're not summoning demons or throwing people off skyscrapers, but that cold, dead look in their eyes tells me that if they could, they probably would. With no satanic powers or opposable thumbs to speak of, the Goose must simply be satisfied with being an absolute nuisance to everyone in town. Whether that means honking loudly at the most inopportune moments or stealing everything that isn't nailed down, what's good for the Goose is absolutely awful for everyone else. For years, developers have been building vast games in which we get to take part in valiant quests to save the world. But it turns out what we really wanted all along was the chance to waddle around and bother people as a horrible, horrible goose. The great thing about Grand Theft Auto style urban sandbox games is that you can choose whether you want to walk the streets like a respectable, law-abiding citizen, or just careen around causing as much mayhem as possible. It's a tough choice at the best of times, but when you throw superpowers into the mix, like in Prototype, the mayhem route becomes irresistibly tempting. Technically, you don't have to make Alex Mercer hurl cars around or slice passers-by in half with his giant axe hands. You don't have to consume random people or carry terrified civilians up the sides of skyscrapers with your souped-up parkour powers. You don't have to walk into the middle of a crowded street and unleash a tendril barrage for absolutely no reason. You don't have to, but you can, and it is oh so much fun. Thanks to backwards compatibility, you don't even have to dig out your old Xbox 360. You can just download Prototype onto your Xbox One or Series X and S and get straight to the carnage.
As jobs go, the supervillain tag comes with a lot of perks. You get a cool volcanic layer, an army of minions to do your bidding, and no, not the yellow ones, and also your very own personal scientists to build you neat stuff like freeze rays and laser grids. But as Evil Genius 2 World Domination points out, it's also a lot of work. In this management sim, you'll be responsible for expanding your evil empire all over the world by recruiting goons, training them up, and then sending them off to do the bad stuff like stealing the Declaration of Independence. But be warned, Benjamin Gates aka Nicolas Cage might beat you to it. But if you want to stay in operation, you'll also have to balance the books and keep the authorities at bay by running a legitimate business as a front. Or failing that, you can just try to make sure any agents they send your way trip and fall into a box full of sharks. Either way works. Evil Genius 2 doesn't shy away from all the administrative headaches that come along with being the big bad, but when the moment finally comes and you're holding your very own doomsday device, it will all feel totally worth it. Even the baddest of guys can't do it alone, so the Overlord games gives you an army of not so gentle minions to carry out your commands. Kicking off way back in 2007, this tactical action RPG series has you playing as a malevolent entity known as the Overlord. To take down the pesky heroes that have been blighting your realm, you'll need to summon a wide variety of little goblin guys and learn how to take advantage of each of their special skills. But like any good boss, the Overlord doesn't just sit around giving orders. You'll also get to wade into the fray to dish out some pain more directly. Like a few of the other games on this list, the Overlord games track your character's morality based on the actions you take. except this one only runs from evil to really evil. So don't feel too bad about your wicked ways, you never really had a choice.
If Destroy All Humans is anything to go by, trying to take over the planet Earth is a pretty popular pastime all over the galaxy. And to be honest, we kind of get it. Playing as a space invader in this mischievous sandbox game is a whole lot of fun. You can confound the locals with your telekinetic powers, or reduce them to a pile of ash with your handy Zap-O-Matic, and then just jetpack away in search of more lowly Homo sapiens to mess with. If you get tired of terrorizing them on foot, you can even hop inside your very own flying saucer to continue your shenanigans from above. Not to mention that your reign of terror is going to look better than ever thanks to the lush remaster. Oh, and you should also keep watching the skies because the lewd, crude space dude himself will be soon back with the fully Xbox Series X and S optimized Destroy All Humans 2 reprobed currently in the works.
In the beginning, you could probably make the case that you're not actually the bad guy in Carrion. After all, this gruesome platformer has you playing as a poor alien blob who wakes up in a shady government facility through no fault of his own, where it is being held against its will and having who knows what sort of awful experiments performed on it. You'd be pretty unhappy about the whole situation too, right? That said, by the time you've used your slimy tentacles to rip apart the 14th or 15th bystander and absorb their DNA to further increase your terrible gelatinous might, it is less easy to claim that you're still the victim in this scenario. Fortunately, ragdolling scientists and creeping up on unsuspecting soldiers is way too much fun for such minor ethical quibbles to slow you down for long.
I am not going to be hearing anyone out about this one. No franchise in the world has more recognizable bad guys than Star Wars. From Kylo Ren's angsty menace to Darth Maul's acrobatic attacks and Emperor Palpatine's electric screen presence, there are so many iconic villains to choose from, and they're all available in Star Wars Battlefront 2. But by putting you right down in the space trenches, the shooter also lets you get to grips with the evil underlings that make it all possible. You can roll around as a droideka or take command as an Imperial officer. Hey, you might even decide to become the first stormtrooper in history to shoot at something and actually hit it. And then when you're one with the Force enough to unleash one of the game's hero or villain characters, you can enjoy all the benefits that come with joining the dark side. That means Force lightning, sick red lightsabers, and a total disregard for the collateral damage you leave behind. Plus, we just look better in black. Alternatively, if you want to play an entire game devoted to those things, both Star Wars The Force Unleashed titles are available on Xbox consoles via backwards compatibility.
There are few sweeter sounding words in the English language than imposter when it pops up on your screen at the start of an Among Us game. From that moment on, you'll get to watch all the rest of your crew going about their simple little lives, unclogging garbage disposals and fixing faulty wires, and you'll pretend to be just like them, performing your very own chores while secretly plotting ways to stab everyone else in the back. Drawing a crewmate into a dark room, taking them out, and then scuttling away through an air vent before anyone notices is one of the most satisfying achievements that you'll find anywhere on Xbox. Toppled only by the delicious moment seconds later when you sit at the emergency meeting and pretend you have no idea why green is now just a pair of legs with a very large bone sticking out of them. But now that you think about it, you could have sworn you saw blue walking in their direction just a minute ago. By the way, it's always Charleyy. It really is.
So the next time you feel like indulging your dark side, just hop into any one of these deliciously evil games. Trust me, you're going to feel way better once you've betrayed a few friends and crushed a few peasant uprisings. I know I always do. Let us know about your favourite games to misbehave in down in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe and ring that bell before you go. Bye!